Cars, cars, and more cars. On days like this, it's difficult to imagine that beach view is anything special. Sandwiched between Greentree, Mount Lebanon, the South Hills, and Mount Washington, Beach View in of itself is a relatively quiet place with happy families, good restaurants, and a few shops here and there one can visit. Aside from that though, there's really nothing much to report. In fact, ask anyone about Beach View and you're probably going to get strange looks from strangers, with the occasional confirmation there really is nothing unique about the area. However, what if I told you that there was much more to this town than meets the eye? That if one takes a well-intended path, that they could find something truly special. You may think I'm crazy, but in one of Pittsburgh's most mundane towns lies a truly unique experience for the individual. That is, if they're willing to look for it. You've probably driven past this place dozens of times on your way to and from work without batting an eye or ever wondering what was even there. Upon first glance, the area doesn't look like anything particularly special, and you're probably more concentrated on juggling your coffee in one hand and the wheel of your car in the other to bother with a second one. However, this underpass is much more than just roadside decoration. Welcome to the Beachview Seldom Seen Greenway. Behind this tunnel lies the entrance to a place that transports the individual out of the city into somewhere that could be considered a small woodland realm straight out of a novel. Right now, in winter, the scenery looks just as dilapidated as the abandoned bridges and structures hidden all along the trail. However, in summer, the area is teeming with life, and everything seems almost unreal. There's two sections of the park: the Beachview Seldom Seen Greenway and the Seldom Seen Greenway Park. Together, both sections of the park take up over 90 acres of land. This place is beautiful, the subject of several articles dating back to the 1990s, and yet always remaining undiscovered. But just how did such a mundane town become home to such a gem? Well, you have German immigrants to thank for that. In 1902, German immigrants settled in the town that became known as Seldom Seen. Seldom Seen was an isolated village along what was known as Watkins Lane and Sawmill Run Creek. Nestled within Brookline and Beachview, its only entrance was an underpass for a railroad in the area. In the early and mid-20th century, the town operated as a type of anachronism. Much of the villagers were farmers, raising livestock and growing their own food as the rest of the city of Pittsburgh and surrounding areas became increasingly urbanized. However, it's worth noting that the area near Sawmill Run Creek was prone to flooding, likely making it impossible to sustain life there for very long. In addition, Sawmill Run Creek was filled with sewage at the time, creating an unpleasant odor and a polluted area as a result. Though not much is known about Seldom Seen itself, it's easy to infer that they likely saw some of the flooding and the sewage from the creek that other towns in the West End were experiencing at the time. Yet, in spite of all this, the town of Seldom Seen existed pretty much well into the 1960s. Once the last of the residents moved out, nature, of course, quickly reclaimed the land. Given that Seldom Seen Greenway is so, well, hidden, it's difficult to imagine that Seldom Seen could ever be anything except a park. However, the transition from village to Greenway was not an easy one. Once the villagers had moved out completely, the city scrambled to figure out what exactly this area was going to become. One plan from the 1970s was to make the area a car dump. Another plan was to turn the area into a home for condos during the condo epidemic in the 1980s. And during downtown subway construction, it was chosen as a fill dump. So, dump, apartment park, dump. None of these are particularly exciting fates. Luckily, in 1985, it was finally decided that Seldom Seen would be converted into a greenway, becoming the beautiful Seldom Seen Greenway we know and love today. So, just what is it about Beachview's Seldom Seen Greenway that makes it so special? to find out once you first take time to, well, find the entrance. The Beachview Seldom Seen Greenway is truly aptly named, homage to its quiet, nearly 62 plus years of hidden existence. Upon entering the park, there's a few things in which individuals can explore. You can walk the trails, many of which are offshoots or footpaths. Climb up the abandoned railway bridge to look at graffiti or gain a good look at the park. Hunt for abandoned structures. Or explore one of the park's many, many rivers. In a town like Beachview, it can be easy to grow complacent and never take a chance to explore. After all, beyond the occasional tea train passing through or the late afternoon traffic jam, not much happens here. The town fades into the background. However, as it seems with all small towns, there's true gems if you know where to look. In places that seem plain and ordinary, I encourage you to dig deeper and find out more. Explore your surroundings, have fun, and remember, there is always more than meets the eye.